Hi everybody, Sean Holsinger here again with you from holsingersflyshop.com, bringing you another nymph pattern today. I'm going to tie a cased caddis. This is a really nice looking cased caddis and pretty easy to tie too. Tying it on a jig head style hook, and it's not too hard to tie. We're tying it on the jig head style hook on the specialty hook. You see the curved down eye. It's a Daiichi 4640 specialty hook. The bead we're using is a tungsten bead, size 1/8, slotted bead, slotted 1/8. Okay, what you do is you put the small size through the eye first, and then there's a slot on the back. You want the slot on the back side so it'll actually roll down over the hook and butt up against the eye just like that. For thread, what we're going to use is ultra thread in 140 denier olive. I switched over to the ultra thread. I really like it. I don't know. I just like it a little bit better. Been using a lot of it lately. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on a piece of paracord braid in olive. Okay, this is really nice looking stuff. You can see there's a shiny pearl braided thing over top this olive cord, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut about an inch out, or you just end up you're going to use about an inch. I usually cut about 2 inches off, and that's just, I'll make like 2 bodies out of it. Just going to hit it with a flame on the end and just singe back the fibers. Just keep singeing them back till it makes a nice little head there like that. You can see how it made a nice little head and made it a little bit darker. There you go. And now it won't unravel. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this down on the hook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it about a body length back off the bend of the hook. Okay, you can see how far back I am there. I want it to stick out behind all. We're going to put some legs on this. And I want it to stick out so you can see it through the legs. Okay, we're just going to wrap this paracord down. Trim it off some. Okay, next thing I like to use is I like to use a lot of Brahma hen soft tackle. You can use partridge, Brahma hen, either one will work. I like to use the natural Keller, mottled wild type, the natural. And what I'll do is I'm going to take and peel back. There you can see the feather, what I'm talking about. I'm going to peel back the fluff. Okay, now I don't like, this is going to make legs for the back of this, okay? I don't like a whole lot of legs, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel off all the fibers on one side of the feather. Okay, so you see how I got it all peeled back on one side, except a little bit at the end. That's going to be my tag I'm going to tie in with. So I'm just going to peel back from there. Okay, you can see how I got it separated. Now I'm going to tie this down. I'm going to tie it down good side up. Okay, just make a couple wraps, and then we can cut the tag end off here. Alright, now we're just going to wrap this on here. I'm going to go this way with it. Okay, we're just going to make a couple wraps, and like I said, I peeled half the fibers off, so it cuts down on the amount of, this is going to act like legs coming out of the case. And I want to make sure I don't twist these. So they all tend to lay backwards. And then we're just going to tie that stem down. Okay, and we're just going to get these all facing back there like they look like legs. Okay, now next thing we need is I'm going to use a dyed brown saddle feather, just a big long just a brown saddle feather, and any kind of feather will work, you know, any kind of long fibered feather. but we sell them at the shop, the dyed saddle feathers. And it's not real important the length of them. What is important, this is going to create a rib in the body of the fly here. So I'm just going to tie it in by the tip and cut the tag off. Now, you can, if you want to, you don't have to. I will for the sake of doing it here. I'm going to add a little bit extra weight to this. You know, tying it on this jig head style hook makes it like a check nymph style of fly, and you know, a heavy weighted fly to get you down there real quick. I'm going to add some lead. I don't want to add a lot of body, so I'm going to use the 0.15, and we'll just add a little bit of lead. And I'm going to really, where I really want my lead is up here towards the head, just to add just a touch of body to it. And I put that on a little thick. I'm not real happy with it, but it's going to do exactly what I want. It's going to weight the fly down. And I'll end up smoothing this out with my dubbing. This is all going to be covered up with dubbing, so it's not a humongous deal about being nice and smooth here. But I'm going to get that covered up fairly decent. Okay, there we go. And the next thing we're going to use is some dubbing. There we go. Hairline dubbing and dark hare's ear. The reason why I like this hare's ear, I'm going to use a little bit of wax to put it on now. The hare's ear is really buggy. The guard hairs in the dubbing will stand out real nice, will brush out real nice, I should say. And we're just going to put some of this on this wax thread here, and we're just going to dub it on there. And then we're going to start at the back and just wrap it towards the head, up towards that bead. Okay, and I want a nice smooth body. You can see I'm a little bit, bend that towards you. You see I'm a little bit thinner up here towards the head, so I'm just going to add just a touch more dubbing to it. Okay, and pretty much what I'm aiming for is about the same size body as the head. I want it to blend right in with the head. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our strung saddle feather, and we're just going to rib this with the saddle feather. Okay, there's other guys out there that tie pretty much the same fly. I'm using just a little bit different color dubbing on it. When you find these under rocks and on the tree limbs and stuff like that in the water, they're typically a dark color. A lot of the caddises in my area, they use bark and stuff like that to build their nest out of. Whoops, broke my feather there. Grab onto it. They use bark and things that's natural stuff in the water, and you know, it's waterlogged, and you know, when a piece of wood or whatever is in the water, it takes on a dark color. So I like to tie this in a darker color than some of the other guys out there. Just personal preference. I think it matches a little bit better. Then we're just going to tie off our head here. Whip finish it right behind the bead. And put an extra one on. A couple extra wraps. Okay, now last step we're going to do is we're going to take our dubbing brush. We're just going to brush these hare's ear fibers out. And this is why I like using the hare's ear fiber, because it brushes out really nice. And you can get them guard hairs to stand out. Okay, now you kind of want to stay away from your Brahma feathers. You don't want to brush them into the mix here. But then we're just going to come in and we're going to trim this down just barely right above the dubbing. What we're doing is we're trimming all those saddle fibers off, saddle hackle fibers. The saddle hackle is more on there for the ribbing and to give it a little bit of that dubbing, or kind of like the guard hairs in the dubbing look when you brush it out. You can see how it brushes out, and it has that dark color. It's ribbed there pretty nice. Let me see. Let me give it a couple of little brushes, brush it out just a hair more. Make sure I got all those long guard hairs and saddle fibers trimmed off. But that's pretty much it to this really simple fly. I tied that up pretty quick there. I hope you enjoy this. I got a bunch of these in my box. It's a really great little case caddis pattern. Oh, last thing I can do, come in with a marker and just going to touch up this head, make it a darker color so it's more noticeable. There you go. It's a little bit more noticeable back there now. And that's all that's to this case caddis. I hope you enjoy it. You can find all the material to tie this fly on our website at holsingersflyshop.com. Make sure you check us out, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm Sean Holsinger.